Hello, in this video I'm going to explain exactly how your fear of driving began. I'm going to share some information I've never shared with you before about exactly how fears and phobias form. So it doesn't matter what your fear or phobia is, and this even extends to things like stopping smoking, insomnia, weight loss. They all form in the same way. So I'm going to keep this as short and simple as I can. Let's imagine that someone is driving down the road one day and they suddenly have a panic attack when they've never had a fear of driving before. What's actually happened is this. You're driving your car along and for a split second you lose concentration. Now this is something you won't be aware of, so it's subconscious, you don't know it's happened. So you're driving along and you have for some reason lost concentration, or your mind has gone off somewhere and thought of something, and you're distracted for a split second. When your mind is refocusing on what's going on, it looks for a solution. So imagine you're driving along in your car and you sort of go off for a second and you come back. Your mind, within a fraction of a second, it works incredibly quickly. Your mind is trying to grab a solution as to what's going on. So you're in your car, you start drifting off and then you come back. It's that moment when you come back when the fear forms. Now there are other ways it can happen, but this is just one of them. And if you're thinking, well, I can't think of a time I did that, you won't be able to. That's the point, because you didn't know it happened. This can all happen within a fraction of a second. So you're driving along in your imaginary car like this, your mind wanders and it comes back. Now when your mind comes back, it looks for a solution. It looks for an answer to what's going on. If you can't find one consciously, because maybe you're thinking of something else and you start to get a bit distracted, your mind dives into the subconscious and it will grab the first thing it finds and latch that to driving. Maybe the first thing it finds is an unpleasant memory of a time when you were hurt or upset as a kid, and that's why you've got a fear of driving. So you're driving along, your mind wanders off. This is in slow motion, I'm doing this. Your mind wanders off and then comes back. It wonders what's going on, and there's too much going on consciously. You grip the wheel, you panic, you go into survival mode, and then your mind goes into your subconscious, grabs the first thing it thinks of, which could be something linked to something you're seeing or a memory you've just had at that time, and attaches that to driving. So it thinks, this is quite complicated to explain, so I hope you bear with me. You're driving along, your mind wanders off, it comes back, and you think, what's going on? You feel with panic, your hands grip the wheel, your mind grabs something from your subconscious and links that to driving. And what happens is, that then forms a loop. So your mind goes driving, bad memory, driving, bad memory, driving, bad memory, and it becomes a loop. And all of that happens within a split second, maybe a few hundredths of a second. And you've now got a fear of driving, because every time you drive a car, your mind thinks, oh, driving, bad memory, and it pulls up that bad memory. That's how a phobia forms in its most simple way. There is more to it than that, but I'm just keeping this as simple and short as I can. So what happens is, when you go driving, your mind is recalling that bad memory, whereas before it didn't recall that bad memory because you hadn't linked it with driving. And the great example of this I'll give you is music. Music is the most powerful way of doing this, what we call an anchor and a trigger. Have you ever heard of a piece of music, and when it plays, it takes you back years, back to when you first heard it, back to that wedding, that party, that time you were driving, the time you were walking, and you heard this song and you think, oh, I remember this, that was on when, and people always do this, oh, it's that music, that song, that was on when, that came out when. You link things to other things, and music is the best proof of this. Another great one is when you watch a film and you feel emotional and sad. Why? Because something's happening in the film that makes you think of something that happened to you, which is also happening to the character in the film. That's why people become emotional. when they're watching films, because their mind is linking what's happening with the film with what happened to them in the past. But without getting too much off topic and rambling on for too long, that's a simple explanation of how it works. So you're driving, your mind links driving to something bad from your past, and that's how you form a fear of driving. How do you get rid of it? Well, quite simple. You do the same thing. We find what that thing is, and we simply find like a bubble, and we blow the bubble up. And this is why people who talk about you're relaxing and you're walking down the beach and you have the answers to your driving problem, it's rubbish. Because what has a beach got to do with driving? Nothing. So you have to talk about the driving, and I often say driving isn't the problem. Driving anxiety has nothing to do with driving. That's true. But we talk about the driving to get to the real problem. So we talk about driving, we find out what the problem is, and then we get rid of it. It isn't something you can do yourself, because I'm making it sound a lot simpler than it actually is. There's a lot you need to know in the background about the mind, psychology, hypnosis and all that kind of stuff to make this work. It isn't as simple as just focusing on it. But if you want to know what your fear of driving is caused by, you can often get a good idea by simply thinking about how you feel when you drive. And where did those feelings come from? Well, if you want to find out and get rid of it once and for all, contact me. I work with people all over the world online, so it doesn't matter where you are. Contact me, we can work on it, and it can take us as little as 20 minutes. It can be longer, often is, but I have done it in 20 minutes where I've changed or helped someone change their life. I don't do it, you do. You do the work, I just guide you with how to do it. So thanks for watching, check out my other videos, get in touch if you want help, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.